Rupert adjusted the cargo straps one final time, his calloused hands moving with practiced efficiency. The delivery manifest glowed on his wrist display. Premium confections, destination, Imperial Dreadnought, Crimson Talon, just another routine run in the outer reaches, or so he thought. Dad, don't forget my recital is tomorrow, crackled Darky's voice through his comm unit. Rupert smiled despite his exhaustion. Wouldn't miss it for all the credits in the galaxy, sweetheart. This is my last run before I'm home. Promise. Promise. The comm went silent, leaving Rupert alone with the hum of his small cargo vessel's engines. Being a single father meant taking every job he could get, even the mundane ones like delivering overpriced chocolates to alien dignitaries. The dragon, Empress, being from the reptilian Drakether species, had specifically requested Earth confections for her diplomatic summit. Apparently, even galaxy-spanning empires had a sweet-toothed dot. As Rupert's ship approached the massive Imperial Dreadnought, his sensors began screaming warnings. The Crimson Talon was venting atmosphere, listing heavily to starboard, its shields flickering like dying stars. This is civilian freighter, Darky's Hope to Imperial Dreadnought. What's your status? Rupert's voice was steady, his military training from 2 decades ago surfacing instinctively. Static answered him, then a strained voice. Freighter, maintain distance. We've suffered catastrophic engine failure. Reactor containment is failing. Evacuate the sector immediately. Rupert's scanners painted a grim picture. The Dreadnought's core was going critical, and with 8,000 souls aboard including the Dragon Empress herself, they had maybe 20 minutes before the ship became a miniature sun. Any sane person would have followed orders and jumped to safety, but Rupert had never claimed to be entirely sane, especially when lives were at stake. Negative. Crimson Talon, I'm coming aboard. He killed the comm before they could protest, already plotting an approach vector to their damaged hangar bay. The Drakether officer who met him was 7 feet tall, scaled in iridescent emerald, and clearly unimpressed. Human, you were ordered to, evacuate. Not happening. Rupert was already pulling his toolkit from the cargo hold. I spent 15 years as a reactor technician in the Earth Defense Force before I became a delivery guy. Where's your engine room? The officer's vertical pupils dilated in surprise. That information is classified. We cannot allow. Listen, Rupert interrupted, his voice hard. I don't care about your classified tech. I care that my daughter doesn't lose her father today, and you've got 8,000 people who probably want to see tomorrow. Now, you can either show me to your reactor, or we can all die arguing about protocol. Something in the human's eyes, perhaps the same fire that had driven his species from a single planet to the stars, made the Drakether officer nod. Deck 17. Follow me. The engine room was chaos. Drakether engineers scattered around failing consoles, their usually composed demeanor shattered by panic. The reactor core pulsed with an ominous crimson glow, its containment field degrading with each passing second. Rupert didn't hesitate. He dove into the maze of conduits and power relays, his trained eyes seeing patterns where others saw only destruction. The Drakether systems were different from human tech. Yes, but energy was energy, physics was physics, and Rupert had always had a gift for understanding how things worked and, more importantly, how to fix them when they didn't. He shouted to a nearby engineer. Reroute auxiliary power to grid 7, and vent coolant through the secondary manifold. Now. The Drakether hesitated, clearly unused to taking orders from a human cargo hauler, bellowed a new voice. The crowd parted, revealing a being of such presence that even in the midst of disaster, all eyes turned to her. The Dragon Empress herself stood before them, her scales shimmering like molten gold, her ancient eyes fixed on Rupert with startling intensity. This human speaks with the voice of one who knows. Obey him. What followed was a blur. Rupert's hands flew across alien interfaces, adapting, improvising, using tricks he'd learned keeping obsolete Earthships running on the frontier. He rerouted power conduits, manually adjusted containment fields, and performed what one Drakether engineer would later describe as impossible thermal calculations in his head. With 3 minutes remaining, Rupert made a desperate gamble. He cross-linked the ship's shield generators directly to the failing containment field, a move that would leave the Dreadnought defenseless but might just stabilize the reactor. Everyone hold on to something, he yelled. The ship shuddered violently. Sparks erupted from overloaded systems, and then silence. The reactor core's glow faded from angry crimson to stable blue. The containment field held 8,000 lives, saved. Rupert collapsed against a bulkhead, his heart hammering, his hands trembling with delayed adrenaline. The Dragon Empress approached him, her massive form somehow graceful despite its size. Human, you have saved not just my life, but my entire fleet. Name your reward. Rupert checked his chronometer and laughed a slightly hysterical sound. Just make sure I get home in time for my daughter's recital tomorrow. That's all I need. The Empress's expression, as much as a reptilian face could show emotion softened. A father's love. Perhaps that is the true strength of humanity. You shall have your wish, and more. My personal shuttle will ensure you arrive on time. As Rupert returned to his cargo hold, he remembered the chocolates. Your Majesty, your snacks, keep them, she said, amusement in her ancient voice. Share them with your darky. Tell her that the Dragon Empress of the Drakta Empire believes her father is the bravest being in the galaxy. Rupert smiled. She won't believe me. Then I shall tell her myself. At her recital, and true to her word, when Darky stepped onto that small school stage the next evening, she performed for an audience that included not just her father, who made it with an hour to spare, but an alien empress who had learned that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their military might, it was their unwavering refusal to leave anyone behind, even when the sensible thing was to run, especially when there was someone waiting for them at home.